All right, I will call this meeting to order of the Design Review Board for Thursday, January 25th. I'll ask staff to confirm this meeting complies with Kansas Open Meetings Act.
I can confirm that the packet was posted and the required notice of the meeting was provided.
Thank you. Item 1.3, roll call.
I'm going to see who is here. Board Member Nelson, Board Member Doak,
Present.
Board Member Romy,
Here.
and Chair Manley.
Present. All
Okay,
right.
we have a quorum of 3 present, so that allows us to move on with today's business. The next item being the minutes from your last regular meeting.
Any questions, comments, or changes from the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second it. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0. Moving on to new business, item 3.1.
Our new business, our public hearing item for you this evening is a application for certificate of appropriateness for 2 new exterior signs. And essentially, I think the best way to characterize this is there's a new owner of the building at 131 South Santa Fe Avenue, and that purchase was made by Welsh Investments on behalf of Salina Homes, and they're planning to relocate to this building, which is one building down from Campbell Plaza on the east side of South Santa Fe. And we provided you with some historical background on this building, but as recently as 2018, the property was purchased by Restore Properties, and they purchased 131 and 135 side by side. They came before this board to allow a major exterior renovation of that building in order to convert it to a fitness and athletic training center, which later became Sharp Performance. And so what we've summarized for you there is the modifications that were proposed and the work that was approved by the board on June 28th, 2018. And so there was quite an extensive renovation of the building, but one of the bigger items of that was that they essentially moved or recessed back the front facade by 10 to 11 feet, and that created a covered alcove area in the front. And so those were completed, and then there was a separate application that came before the board for a new sign for Sharp Performance. Well, now with the new owner, Mr. Welsh is trying to rebrand the building, and the plan is to relocate the real estate offices from the former Bartlett School building at 300 South 9th to the space that was formerly occupied by Sharp Performance. We've given you a floor plan in your packets, but the majority of the first floor will be office space. But he's also proposing to open a coffee shop in the southern portion of the building. So what we provided for you in your packet and the elevations that we received and analyzed called for a 10-inch tall by 6-foot long wall sign that would be flush mounted on the west wall above the main entrance, and a 2.25 foot by 3-foot projecting sign that was being proposed at the southern facade for the 1858 coffee house. So that sign would project out over the sidewalk, and that sign would be internally illuminated and mounted to a brick pillar. Again, the pillar that's associated with the recessed alcove there. Since the packet went out and the original application, we received a supplemental drawing which reflected the original intent of the owner to install a sign that has 17-inch tall letters, and because of the larger letter size would be 96 inches long instead of 72 inches long. And so what you have at your places is essentially the identical sign, except it's got taller letters that spread out more. And so we don't know if the elevation, that drawing that we have that is got the farther away perspective, reflects that sign or not, but the sign, either one as proposed, would fit within that space, and at 11 square feet instead of 5 square feet, it's still very proportional to the front facade of the building. And so we have provided for you in your packet the design guidelines that relate to installation of new signs. And some of the things that are important is coordinating the sign with the overall facade, making sure it's proportional to the building so it doesn't dominate the front facade, using colors and materials are compatible, and then if illumination is used, a system that backlights the sign text is the preferred method in the downtown. So we're talking about a wall sign over the transom that's designed to identify the front entrance to the real estate business, and this will be flush mounted in that transom area. And then we're talking about a smaller projecting sign. It will have some similarities to the type of projecting sign that you see at Prickly Pear, just to the north on Santa Fe. But this building has 50 feet of frontage, and so these signs would fall well within the sign square footage limitations and numerical limitations of the C4 district. It appears to us that only the numbers and letters will be illuminated in the signs, which is the preferred method in the downtown district. And so I think the only thing we would request a little more clarification on is exactly how the coffee house sign would be illuminated, what portions of that sign face would be illuminated. But if that is provided, then we believe that even with the 17-inch tall letters and the wider sign, that all the findings that we have provided on page 5 and 6 are met. And so your options this afternoon would be to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for the two signs, finding that they conform with the design guidelines. You could approve the application subject to conditions approved by a majority of the design review board members. You could postpone consideration if you'd like additional information, or you could deny the application if you don't think the signs conform with the downtown design guidelines. Our recommendation would be for option 2, with just the standard condition that if there's any significant changes to the sign design or materials, those would be presented to our staff, and then we would determine whether that needed to come back to you for additional review. But we've looked at this and read the explanations. Were just, our assumption is that the 1858 and coffee house portion of this sign is what's going to be illuminated, but we're not positive. So if Mr. Welsh could provide any additional information about that, that would be helpful. But with that, staff's open to any questions that you might have.
All right, any questions from the board of staff? All right, with that, I will welcome Mr. Welsh to the podium. I believe the question was about the illumination of the 1858 coffee house.
Yeah, correct. Thank you for the opportunity. Dean, appreciate all the research and putting it together. As far as the 1858 coffee house, the 1858 and just the coffee house will be lit up, and it'll be a black sign that will be made there. We did choose, we like Ad Astra sign as well as the Prickly Pear, where instead of the front facade, we're looking for it to kind of come off the building. And then we would leave this line of homes sign on the front. Clarification there, we did make a clerical area. I was designing the 3 signs, I sent it off, and we're doing an interior sign, and the interior sign is the 10 by whatever the 84 was. And when we filled out the application, we sent that in, and then recognizing that it was really a 17 by 96. But the elevation survey or that you see there is actually the same size as Sharp Performance. We think it fits in there perfectly. We didn't want to make it to where it goes outside of that. We like the architectural of the windows and the transoms being exposed and us being able to fit right in the middle of that. Rather than trying to make some larger sign, even though we knew we had the square footage available given the building frontage, we just felt that it would start to overlap the beams, touching window sills, and it just wouldn't look appropriate. So we feel that our signage is appropriate for the real estate company Salina Homes, and then also having a secondary signing for the coffee house. Be happy for any other questions you may have.
Any other questions from the board? All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank
Rush. All right, any additional comments from interested citizens? Leslie, it looks like you're on. Hearing none?
It looks great. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. All right, bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move to approve the applications, subject to any conditions approved by a majority of the design review board, with the consideration that if any significant changes to the sign design or material approved by our board, it will be presented to the board administrative staff to determine whether additional review is required.
Second it. All right, it sounds like it's moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, so we'll get that sign permit process with the right dimension on that for you with the 17 by 96 letters. And
Moving on to administrative items, item 3.2.
this is everyone's favorite. The City Commission asks that all of its boards and commissions that it appoints provide a report of its activities and member attendance and other things each year annually. So in January, we go back and look at the year before, and so we document what the current membership is for the City Commission. We go back and look at activity level, number of meetings, attendance, and number of cases. And so from that standpoint, we had over 20 applications. And if you add to that the renewals of the sidewalk dining license agreements that we did in the spring, that was a number of applications that came before the board. We've reported on the membership, where we've had 3 longtime members' terms expire in August, and we lost 3 and got Joshua Doak and John Nelson appointed. And so we're still at 4 appointed members with 3 openings, and we've reached out to the mayor and city commission. We've reached out to Leslie at SDI, trying to encourage some additional citizens to join the board. What we usually do is ask you to look at the attendance, number of meetings, and then the information we have with you about current residents or mailing address. If there's anything that's out of date, you could provide that information to Margie to update our information. And then if you want to protest any of our attendance taking, we can take that up with Margie as well. But the City Commission is primarily wanting to know how many times a board meets and how active it is, and that the members who are appointed are active and serving on the board. And then the other aspect we had, and we we wanted to discuss, we think there'll be some public meetings sometime in mid to late February. We're going to talk to, we have a consultant that works nationally that's an expert on signs, murals, sign regulations, those types of things. They're going to come out to Salina for some public meetings, and so that may result in a study session with this board about some aspects of signage in the downtown area, including the distinguishing between painted wall signs and murals and those types of things. And then you had indicated to us as a staff that your preference would be that we work to amend the existing ordinance so that sidewalk dining license applications are renewed by staff administratively and not by you as a board. And so we're going to work to try to get that change made so that we're not bringing you a wave of renewals every spring, because there's really not a great reason to bring it to you unless there's been issues or complaints or something with that location. And if it's routine, there's really not reason to have you meet us, write a report to tell you that nothing's changed. So we have listed that as one of your goals or objectives that we'll communicate to the City Commission. So with that, we let you look over the report. The only action would be, if after any questions or anything you have, is just a motion to submit this report to the City Commission on behalf of the DRB.
I had one question on the filing fees. General certificate of compatibilities appears to be $35, which is probably what the majority of what we get. And then this sidewalk dining license is a little bit more at $150. Is there a reason for the higher price on that? Is it
Well, the
what-
primary reason for the higher price is that because of tax considerations and other things, we can't actually, the more appropriate program would be for the city to actually lease the space, the public space, to the private business. And so in lieu of that, there's an annual license fee, and that's not the same as rent or lease, but that's part of the reason for the renewal of the fee, is that it's public space that's generating income for the businesses at no charge to the businesses. So the license fee is to compensate for that.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? I'll entertain a motion to submit this to the city.
I move to approve the annual, or the 2023 Design Review Board annual report, and to be submitted to the city.
It is moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, preliminary discussion items. I see none. Are there any unfinished business or other business?
We have I have to look at the calendar to see our next meeting dates. We'd have 2 meeting dates in February, and so we think that sometime in February we'll have the study session where we'll have Wendy Moeller, the sign consultant, out in Salina, and then we have an application filed for a sign that would go on the front of the Groove, which is proposed as a drinking establishment at 141 North Santa Fe, just south of the City Lights stage and parking lot. And that drinking establishment was approved by the Planning Commission, but now they've come forward with their sign, and there's kind of a description of it, but the graphic that we have is not real clear. It looks like it's a form of a projecting sign that would project out over the Santa Fe sidewalk, but we will notify the board of your next meeting date, but that's likely to be on your next agenda.
All right. Item 5, public forum. Is there anyone in the room or online that would wish to speak?
Yes, please. Leslie with Salina Downtown. You addressed the new drinking, or the new bar, the Groove, but I want to bring to your attention that the new Clubhouse Golf Salina has a vinyl sign that looks like it's been bolted into the metal facade in the front. And I don't believe that that meets the requirements, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's located at 117B North Santa Fe.
Okay. Yeah, the former Martini's
Right.
footprint. Yeah. So we didn't know if that was a temporary coming soon thing or not, but we'll go down and look at that one and see
No,
what
the
it
comment
entails.
the comment made to our office was, well, what are they going to do if I just put it up? And we said, well, you need to go through the proper channels. Well, what are they going to do if we just put it up? And so there you go.
Okay. No, we know how to deal with those situations, so we'll address it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew.
Thank you, Leslie. All right. Hearing no other public forum, I will move for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.